We're living in very crazy times. It's been barely 2 weeks since governments in Canada and the US have started taking drastic measures to slow down the spread of COVID-19 or the coronavirus. And of course, these changes have impacted all of us in many different ways. But for home buyers and homeowners who are looking at making a move in the next year, understanding how these changes might impact our real estate market is a particular concern to them. And I find that in times like these, when there's a lot of uncertainty, most people's concern about the market and stress about the market has more to do with the fact that they don't know what's going on in the market right now. It's not so much that they can't predict where it's going in the future. Most people can't make sense of what's going on today, and for good reason. I mean, if you look at news stories even from last week, they send a lot of mixed messages. Some stories were talking about how Toronto's market is still competitive and that there are bidding wars. And there's another article from a bank economist who said that there are no buyers and there are no sellers, that Toronto's real estate market is frozen, that it's basically a ghost town. So how do you make sense of what's actually going on in the housing market versus what's one person's opinion that may be biased or inaccurate? And of course, the answer to that is to focus on the facts. And in our case, focusing on the facts means looking at the weekly numbers to understand exactly what's going on in Toronto's housing market. When the market's very volatile and uncertain like this, it's not enough to look at housing data once a month because the market can change significantly from 1 week to the next. And that's why on this channel, I'm going to be looking at the latest housing data once a week to get a better understanding of where things are going and to unpack why those changes might influence your decisions tomorrow. Now, if you're not a numbers person or a data person, that's 100% fine. You don't need to worry. I have a strong Twitter following for those types of things. I decided to start using other social platforms because I really believe that in times like these that are particularly uncertain, it's really important for people who are making big decisions like buying or selling a home to get as much information as possible. This isn't a time to be relying on a real estate agent's 2 cents or their opinion. You really need to be relying on the facts of the market. So my role here isn't to be dumping a bunch of charts and numbers each week. It's really to select a couple of charts each week that are important and to walk you through the story that those charts are telling us about Toronto's real estate market right now. It might be a lot like how many of us experience going through an art gallery. We can look at a piece of artwork from Picasso and look at it ourselves and try to understand what the art's saying and what the artist is trying to tell us, or we can have a guide walk us through it so we can look at that same work of art from a completely different lens. So hopefully I'd like to be your guide that's going to walk you through maybe a couple of charts each week that's going to influence your decisions and kind of unpack really what's going on in Toronto's housing market on a weekly basis. If you're up for it, hit subscribe, hit follow so you can catch my latest videos each week. And if you have any questions, please post them below.